And now I get to wonder if I'm recording or streaming or whatever the heck you call it. Is it live? Is it real? Check it out. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, we are apparently live. So that's awesome. I was at work today and I was notified that Lane Myers, the man, the myth, and the legend, was going to do a stream. So I figured, what the heck? I'd watch a few minutes. And it was interesting. Interesting to say the least. So I figured, I didn't realize it was going to be 4.5 hours. I figured that I would review it, or at least maybe in part. Oh, yes, I am. Sweet. I would review it, at least bits and pieces of it. Obviously, I'm not going to go through a full 4.5 hours stopping for commentary. But as you can see, this is not the most flattering picture of me that he chose for his thumbnail. I'm a little miffed that while he did spell my name correctly in the thumbnail, he misspelled my first name in the title. It's going to make it more difficult for people to find me. So I appreciate the free advertising for my non-monetized YouTube channel. I don't know. Is there a way? Let me look to see while people are still coming in, if in fact people are still coming in. Let's see if I can pop out stream general, because it used to have a little pop out that would let me see the chat, but I am a boomer. Technically, I'm too young to be a boomer. Is it in advanced? Advanced? No, that's for smarter people than me. What else do we have? No. What else do we have? Studio mode? Hmm. Well, I wonder if, and you'll pardon me while I do this. Let's see if we're still not we're on the new one. So how do I do this? Well, I don't know how to do it. So I'm just not going to do it because I'm a boomer. And boomer's going to boom. So I'm going to cancel that and see where now. Well, everything's all wacky doodle. Wacky doodle, wacky doodle. Wacky doodle. Well, ooh. Ooh. So if I do this, maybe you don't see it. No, you do, because I'm retarded. All right, so anyway, let's get into this without any further ado. And we are, of course, going to put him on playback speed 2. And we are going to advance fairly rapidly through this, I hope. 10 minutes. Here we go. So let's stop here. The what he calls a so-called journalist. Hello, Michelle. Yeah, what he calls a so-called journalist is Big Jim Finch, and it's strange to me because one of the cornerstones of the auditing community is that we are journalists gathering content for a story. And one of the big attacks that you see from the anti-auditing communities is you're not real journalists. Well, I've always held the position that unless they're actually creating the story themselves, if they're just actually just like filming police interactions and things like that, then they are in fact journalists. When they insert themselves in the story or cause themselves to be the story, that's when I think they cross the line and they're no longer journalists. But the lack of grace that he shows Big Jim Finch by calling Big Jim Finch a so-called journalist in quotes. I mean, and I got to be somewhat charitable to him. He's probably too retarded to understand that he's actually undermining his own position. Everything that Lane Meyer does is special pleading, like uh like he puts air quotes around me being an attorney. Like I'm not an attorney. But he calls himself an attorney, and he's clearly not an attorney. Attorney has there's colloquial and there's like actual definitions for attorney. Like colloquially, a lawyer and attorney are synonymous. Colloquially, a lawyer though is someone who has studied the law. Generally, it refers to somebody with a Juris Doctorate, but it means someone who's learned in the law. Right? You're a lawyer. You studied the law. An attorney is someone who's licensed to practice the law. So while I am an attorney in the state of California, because I'm licensed to practice law in the state of California, I am a lawyer for other parts of the country because I'm studied in the law, but I'm not licensed to practice there. So what he's referring to here is Rule 3.6 of the Arizona Rules of Professional Conduct. Rule 3.6 applies to lawyers. Rule 3.6 does not apply to pro se litigants. You're not a lawyer. You are representing yourself, but you're not an attorney. Only an attorney can represent someone. Anybody can represent themselves. Any natural person can represent themselves. Uh, entities, like corporations and things like that, can't represent themselves. But he's not an attorney. He's representing himself, but he's not an attorney. The Arizona Rules of Professional Conduct don't apply to him. And you'll see that later when he puts it up on the screen.
Substantially prejudicial, false, defamatory, and misleading statements being um, distributed. We got to be careful how we say it because we don't want to give them too much credit. They're being disseminated for sure under the false pretense of news reporting and uh, legal advice from a licensed member of the bar.
No, I have never given Lane Myers legal advice. I have given my opinion on the briefs that he's filed, the legal situation he's in, uh, various things regarding his ongoing. Uh, I've looked at the civil harassment, whatever they call it in Arizona. I forget the name that they call it in Arizona. That he did. I went over the trial where he just shit the bed completely. And I've gone over the various pleadings and motions and whatever was broadcast by his little cronies for his criminal case. But I've never given him legal advice. He doesn't understand the words he uses. Everything in Lane Myers' head is a colloquial Lane Meyerism, and he doesn't understand the actual meaning behind these things.
So, with that being said, today we're going to make sure that we use this opportunity pursuant to the rules of professional conduct to make a statement that a reason.
And see, there you go. There's Rule 3.6 up on the screen. A lawyer, which colloquially would be an attorney here. California, they call them lawyers too for the state bar, but they're using it in more of a colloquial terminology there. So a lawyer may make a statement that a reasonable lawyer would believe is required to protect a client from a substantial undue prejudicial effect of recent publicity not initiated by the lawyer or the lawyer's client. Well, Lane Myers isn't a lawyer and he isn't an attorney. And the Arizona rules of professional conduct don't apply to him. He's basically trying to read something in there where a pro se litigant who does not have a client and isn't a lawyer can somehow make these statements. However, As a pro se litigant, he's not limited by Rule 3.6. Rule 3.6 doesn't give you extra ability to talk about a case. Rule 3.6 limits lawyers who are participants in the case at representing the plaintiff or the defendant or a party in the case. It limits their ability to make statements because the profession of the practice of law is regulated by the state has the power, subject to First Amendment limitations, to limit the kinds of things a lawyer can say. Lane Myers isn't a lawyer. He can say whatever he wants. Everything that he says can and will be used against him, but he could say whatever he wants. He doesn't need to rely on Arizona Rules of Professional Conduct, Rule 3.6. The dogs are doing good. He doesn't need to rely on this. This allows a lawyer to say things, and if a lawyer breaches these rules, the lawyer is subject. If he says too much, the lawyer could be subject to discipline by the Arizona State Bar. Lane Myers isn't subject to discipline from the Arizona State Bar. And the purpose of having a lawyer go out and make statements on the client's behalf is because the lawyer can say things that can't be held against the client. And one of the reasons why they have this rule in place is to prevent lawyers from going out and saying things that are going to prejudice the jury or misrepresent the facts, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a limitation on lawyers. It's not a, pro se litigants. Again, they could say anything they want to because they're not restricted by these rules.
Reasonable lawyer would believe is required to protect their client from the substantial undue prejudicial effect of recent publicity not initiated by the lawyer or the lawyer's client. A statement made pursuant to this paragraph shall be limited to such information as is necessary to mitigate the recent adverse publicity. Okay.
He even just read it. He just read it. He read a lawyer may. And like it didn't click in his head that he's not a lawyer. Like he read the words and he didn't understand it. So when I say he's retarded, it's because he's retarded. If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck, right? If you know, and being retarded is a choice. I want to be very clear about that. Being retarded in Lane Myers' circumstance is a choice that Lane Myers makes. Because Lane Myers could go one of two routes. He can go the remain silent and be thought a fool, or open his mouth and remove all doubt. And he is just punching 100% into open his mouth and remove all doubt.
So again, we're only going to get into, so we're going to start this by showing the rules of conduct that members of the bar.
The rules of conduct that members of the bar. Yeah, are you a member of the bar, Lane?
In Arizona, we'll start with. So in Arizona, right? Let's see. Just want to make sure there's not a better way to explain this.
Yeah, make sure there's not a better way to explain it.
Let's see. Maintaining the integrity of the profession. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so that's definitely.
Nope, no, it's not what you're looking for.
So we'll go to this, right? And we'll go to trial publicity here, right? And so no lawyer. These rules would apply to ethical, responsible members of the bar association.
Yeah, ethical lawyers. You're not one of those, you retard.
So if you're not one of those, well then, okay. So
yeah. Well, if you're not one of those, well then okay. So it doesn't apply to you. And it's a limitation. Generally speaking, in the US, the way our laws are written, they're restrictive laws. So if it's not prohibited by law, you can do it. Some other countries have laws where it has to be allowed by law for you to do it. But the US, if it's not restricted by law, you could do it. Attorneys have these additional restrictions placed upon them in order to practice their trade. It's not anybody, it's a regulated trade. Not anybody could do it, and you can make a lot of money doing it. But to protect the public and to protect the integrity of the judicial system, lawyers have extra rules placed on them that non-lawyers don't have.
So any lawyer that's a member of the bar association should know that when there's pending litigation, right? So first we look at it from the perspective of if the lawyer was a lawyer for the client, right? Or either side, plaintiff's lawyer, defendant's lawyer.
That's literally what this applies to. It's for lawyers who are involved in the litigation. A lawyer who is participating or has participated in the investigation or litigation of a matter. I mean, you're not a lawyer, but it only applies to lawyers who have participated in the litigation.
Lawyer, right? So we got to start out by saying any lawyer who's actually participating in the case, right, shall not
Right?
make an extrajudicial statement that the lawyer knows or reasonably should know will be disseminated by means of public communication will have a substantial likelihood of materially prejudicing and adjudicative proceeding in the matter, right?
Uh-huh.
So now it's one thing to make a statement. A reporter calls you up on the phone, you give a statement, they go and put it in the news, oh, a statement, right? But they don't use the lawyer's name. They just say, oh,
No. Even if the news doesn't publish the lawyer's name, if the state bar finds out that a lawyer has violated this rule, and lawyers have additional rules where we have to participate in the investigations against us. We can't just say, no, I'll take the fifth. We can actually be punished if the state bar asks us for, all the information on this and we don't give it to them. Like the state bar, if they're investigating me for any reason, they could be like, we want to see all your files. We want to see everything. And I have to show it to them. And if they ask me questions, I have to answer them. And if I don't do those two things, I could get an additional punishment. And they can increase the disciplinary action against me for the things that they were investigating me for my failure to cooperate. And if I lie to them, that's an extra bad. I mean, like lawyers have a lot of restraints on us. So just because the newspaper doesn't publish it, if the bar finds out about it and they investigate it and they ask the lawyer has to be like, yeah, bro, I said that. He has to.
right? They use it as like a general reference, like, yeah, I what's the best way to explain that?
Yeah, what is the
They would
best
say
way to
that,
explain it?
if the news calls and there's a case on the news, there's an arrest, it's a case on the news, everybody's talking about it. The news calls the attorney on either side, and they say, hey, you got anything to say, right? And truthfully, the lawyers are supposed to be like, well, I can't really say much because it's pending litigation, and I don't want to put anything in the news that would, a potential jury member could see or anything like that. That's their ethical responsibility as a responsible ethical attorney.
Maybe. They can make more statements than that. There's further down there of this list, there's other reasons why lawyers can make statements.
Member of the bar association, they should say no comment, right? Now they could call a lawyer that's not involved, right? But most.
Now, if you look at subsection B, which is up on the screen, a lawyer can state a lot of things: the claim, the offense or defense involved, and except when prohibited by law, the identity of the persons involved, information contained in a public record, that an investigation is in progress, scheduling, or result of any step in the litigation, blah, blah, blah. There's more things. There's more things they can say. They don't have to just say no comment, Lane. You didn't even read the rule of professional conduct that you are mischaracterizing.
Most ethical, responsible lawyers would say, I'm not going to give a public comment on that because the person's still innocent until proven guilty, and I don't want to, say anything that could be prejudicial.
Wow, Waltz can't really get enough of this because I see up here he's asking Lane, "Are you an attorney?" And I see him in my comments right now. So interesting, Waltz. You must dig this stuff.
Or anything like that while the case is still pending, right? Then there's lawyers that would say, oh, I have no problem giving like you showing me the police report and like I'll give you my hey, this is what I think. But they always qualify that by saying, now listen, this person's innocent. I'm only going by what I have in front of me, and then anything they say after that is directly.
No, the prosecutor, if they're making a statement, they don't have to say the person's innocent. Why would they have to say that?
Related to the material they have in front of them. They don't then just give a statement completely off the top of their head, not made up, that could later be used against them, right? Okay.
Well, they don't say anything that they believe will violate this ethical rule. And sometimes they cross the line, sometimes they don't. Sometimes the state bar investigates, sometimes they don't. Sometimes the state bar disciplines them, sometimes they don't.
Okay, so we want to make sure that as ethical, responsible, and members of the actual pro se, the founder of the Pro Se Idiot Bar Association, Jailhouse.
Well, so again, he's just acknowledging that this doesn't apply to him because he's pro se. Like I just can't believe how retarded he is.
Lawyers of America. Mr. Myers certainly has an ethical responsibility to ensure that the proceedings
And why does he refer to himself in the third person? He is so retarded. He was asking, he said he'd put out a reward for my name and address, my name and home address. And I can't comment on his stuff, but I did I did ask some people in my comment section or in my Discord to let him know that for $1,000, if you put it in an escrow account, I'd give it to him. And for $1,500, I'd give him a copy of my driver's license. I mean, I'm not worried about this guy at all. I just want to be very clear about that. But got to work for it a little bit. If you're too stupid to figure out who I am, you know, considering I've stated who I am multiple times in my videos, then you got to pay me for my time, son.
remain fair, right? He doesn't go and do things that could potentially influence the proceedings or ask other people to do that. Okay, now then it's another thing.
Well, Lane Myers has done a lot of things that influence the proceedings. He's discussed ongoing litigation multiple times, and it's been used against him. I think he actually caught charges over some of those streams. So I don't exactly know why he thinks that he's super Mr. Ethical, because unlike me, he's literally caught charges for them. Now he plea bargained a lot of them away, but like some of the charges that they filed were specifically for him commenting on ongoing litigation.
And when you actually have your own YouTube channel and post a video, post evidence of your own misconduct on a video on YouTube.
Well, who posted evidence of his own misconduct on YouTube? Probably the guy who pled guilty to, I think, 2 counts.
Okay, so at that point, the lawyer really doesn't have a leg to stand back on and say, well, that was only like my opinion given in like, no, it's like, so any lawyer.
Well, no, a lawyer who is participating in the litigation has these ethical rules on him, but a lawyer who's not participating in the litigation or investigation has the same First Amendment rights as anybody else does. And we can comment on matters of public concern. And your criminal trial is a matter of public concern. As I've stated multiple times, trials are public issues. They're public matters. They're open to the public for a reason, because they're a matter of public concern.
Lawyer, right, should know that posting something, a public video on YouTube, is a means of public communication, right? Now
Posting a video on YouTube as a means of communication? What? This guy's a legal genius.
it's one thing to have like a private little forum chat server thing, Discord or whatever, where it's private and not anybody can see it, right? Because that's like not necessarily, it's a forum that members of the public use, but in some essence, it's a limited forum because you've made it private.
It's not a limited forum. Forum analysis has nothing to do with this. And it doesn't matter where the lawyer makes the extrajudicial statement. Extrajudicial means outside of the courtroom. It doesn't say public. He could say it to he could say it to his wife, and if he knows or reasonably should know that his wife is going to post about it on Facebook or something like that, then he needs to not say it. The guy's a moron.
And not right. So anybody that that forum was limited access by the creator, right? So they couldn't claim that statements made in that limited forum are First Amendment protected because a private citizen can't.
Limited forum is a term of art. Forum analysis is when the government puts restrictions on communication, generally speaking, in an area. That's where forum analysis comes in. It has nothing to do with this. This is not a forum. If you were going to challenge this particular rule of professional conduct, you wouldn't do it on forum analysis. Even though this is a government actor trying to restrict your speech. Oh, the guy uses words he doesn't understand.
Create a private forum, public in a public park. Like that's why, like when people are like,
you can't create a private forum in a public park. You can't. What? First of all, what is a private forum? What is a private forum? I'm aware of non-public forums, limited public forums, designated public forums, and traditional public forums. What is a private forum?
like freaking out from or the sidewalk or whatever. There's no expectations of privacy in public. So like if you make
Now we're into there's no expectation of privacy in public. This old canard is so stupid. There are some expectations of privacy in public. That's how you get laws against like people peeking up skirts. Because even though you're out in public, you have an expectation of privacy that people won't look up under your skirt. That is an expectation of privacy in public. Police can't just demand your ID because you're in public, because you have a reasonable expectation of privacy even in public. Again, he says everything he fucking says is just word salad without even some delightful dressing to make it tastier.
make this public on your little Discord thing, then everybody can see it, then it's public, right? But if you keep it limited, right, you can say, well, that was
I have no idea what he's going on about.
always invitation only or whatever you want to say when you're facing misconduct allegations. You won't you'll be able to avoid the statement that you should have known that was going to be disseminated by means of public communication. So
Well, no, because know or reasonably should know. So if let's just pretend that a lawyer says something in a private Discord. Let's say I say something about one of my ongoing cases in my Discord. Now my Discord is pretty locked down, and let's say I say it in one of the rooms that only actual members who have a what do you call it, a role can see. I would be exposing myself to a lot of potential liability because people don't keep secrets on Discord, and I reasonably should know that anything I say in there could get disseminated. Like always, just as a general way to act in life, is always expect everyone you tell something to disseminate it at some point. You know, maybe your wife or husband, if you have a husband. But even then, you know, everything you say, like try to use some restraint in what you say, because you know, think about it before you say it, because somebody somewhere might use it against you. And no one's going to be perfect. I'm not expecting anybody to be perfect, but you know, just because it's in a private Discord doesn't shield the lawyer from this particular rule of professional conduct.
so with that all being said, right, a lawyer shouldn't make any statements except talk about the charge, the information contained in the police report, right? There's an investigation ongoing. Talk about how they're going to proceed in the case, right? You know, ask the public for
Information contained in a public record. So even if this did apply to me, I have only commented on things that are in the public record. I read his motion. That's what got him so upset. And I said it was shit. I read his motion. That's in the public record. I've talked about the outcomes of his various motions and trials and things like that. There was the civil harassment trial. I covered that. That was a matter of public record. And I was talking about a step in the litigation. So even if I was the result of a step in the litigation, even if I was representing him or some other party, I still would be within the bounds of this. I would still be in the bounds of this.
for assistance in obtaining evidence and information, like asking.
And to be very clear, I am not representing anybody in this. I'm not representing Elaine Myers. I'm not representing the state. I'm not representing the victim or the victim's family. In no way, shape, or form am I involved in this investigation or litigation. I am not involved.
Asking the public for somebody's, you put up their picture and you say, hey, can anybody provide me with this information? This is, I'm looking for this information related to an ongoing case or a case I'm looking to file, right? So this is all ethical and responsible by the Bar Association. A warning of danger, right? Maybe the lawyer wants to warn everybody, this person, put this out there, there's this guy, make sure that you are aware of his occupation and family status of the accused. Talk about the fact, the time and the place of the arrest, right? The identity of investigating and arresting officers and agencies and the length of the, right? So no lawyer, let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Then it says, notwithstanding paragraph A, right? Well, what was paragraph A? It was a lawyer who was participating or who has participated in the investigation of litigation, right?
Right. And that's still not me. That is still not me.
So now that's starting from like as close to the case as you can get. And then you start working your way back from like, okay, I'm not involved. I'm not a lawyer in either case. I'm just spitballing it off public records and stuff, right?
Right.
Well, you certainly, as a lawyer who doesn't have any,
Certainly,
or excuse me, who has limited facts of the case, should never be speaking about a case. Because
clearly, show me that. I mean, we've just spent how long now? Where are we at in this? We've spent 30 minutes in this going over a rule of professional conduct that doesn't apply to you and it doesn't apply to me. And now that we get to clearly where it applies to me, now we're not showing anything. We're not showing any law. We're not showing any cases. We're not showing any rules. Like now it's just clearly you're talking out your ass, son.
Because you're speaking out of turn. Okay.
Oh, because you're speaking out of turn. I forgot the out of turn law. That's what Arizona Revised Statute 13 dash out of my ass. Like what the fuck is the out of turn violation?
You're speaking out of turn, and no lawyer would ever make that a fool. Like where they say a lawyer represents as a fool for a client. Well, a lawyer who speaks out of turn is a fool.
Wait a minute. You are representing yourself. Does that mean you have a fool for your client? For a client? You, a lawyer who represents himself, a pro se litigant, because a lawyer who represents himself would be a pro se litigant. So what that is saying is a pro se litigant has a fool for a client. Now, again, it's just a phrase, a general piece of advice. It's not specific because obviously pro se litigants don't have clients. But you're a pro se litigant.
Fool. Okay. So it's not even about the client. It's about the lawyer who's a fool.
It's not about the client. It's about the lawyer who's a fool. But a lawyer who represents himself, this is the law of excluded identities or something like that. They are the same person. So how can it, if it's about the lawyer, how can it not be about the client? Because the lawyer is representing himself. Like and yes, I have fortified my water because this is hard for me to listen to. Because it's just a nonstop barrage of nonsense. Like nothing in here makes any sense.
So any lawyer that would go on YouTube and start mouthing off about how this and that and this and that better have significant inside information on the case. Oh wait, well if they do that, they should definitely not be making a statement, right?
He just kind of like he literally pointed out the flaw in his own logic. Just duh. And it's not about having inside information. If you got that inside information from a lawyer who is representing someone, then the lawyer who is representing that person might be running afoul of this particular rule because that lawyer would have had the obligation to not disseminate the information to someone who would then broadcast it on public media. So, like, again, it's not... He gives me thinky pain.
Or if they don't have any information and they're just making shit up as they go, they should definitely not do that as a response.
Again, no citation to any authority, no rule, no statute, no case law, and I have his motion. His motion has been publicly available. Big Jim Finch posted it on my Discord. I have the motion.
Responsible ethical member of the bar, right? Okay. So as we can see, right?
As we can see, clearly.
As we can see now, this press conference is being held pursuant to the ethical, responsible rules of litigating a case, right?
The ethical, responsible rules of litigating a case. This guy's a fucking moron.
Productions and my client Lane Myers, he strives to follow the court procedures and ethical rules, just like everybody that is a member of the bar association.
Yeah, except you caught felonies, bro. I think what you had, I think, didn't you? Correct me, someone, if I'm wrong in chat, but didn't he have a felony prior to getting this case? I recall vaguely when I was looking up the sentencing guidelines that he got a bump on the potential sentencing because he had a prior felony conviction somewhere. I could be wrong on that. But then he just got another conviction for, I think, 2 felonies. So that, I think it just takes 2 prior convictions for felonies to get you up into the tier 3 aggravated sentencing in Arizona, which adds significantly more potential jail time It increases the minimum, it increases the maximum sentences, it increases like the recommended, yada yada. Why do you even bother with this guy? Because I'm having fun? Why do I bother with anybody? If I don't like somebody, I just ignore them. Like, that's the easy thing to do. Because I don't know. Because I felt like doing it. That's why. That's why, Brian. Brian B.
Now, that doesn't always work out, and when it doesn't, Mr. Myers has a little bit more leeway to speak his mind than a member of the bar, which is why somebody who you can pull up on the bar association better be really careful what they say into sitting in their car, speaking into a microphone.
Why do I need to be really careful what I say, Lane? Uh, we've gone over this. Other than your made up rules, the actual rules, the only rule that you've shown only applies to lawyers who are involved in the case, and I'm not. So apparently I can say what the fuck I want, biatch.
With no documents, nothing
I apologize for that. I shouldn't call him a bitch.
to substantiate the words coming out of their mouth. Who knows if it's true or false, but it's
Well, I can substantiate it. I have a pretty long track record of guessing the outcomes of cases and motions and things like that. Pretty long track record of doing that. So I must either I'm incredibly lucky and I should be playing the lottery, or I've got a reasonable grasp of the law and the procedure. I mean, you could draw your own conclusion.
certainly been disseminated by means of public communication, right? So that's where we're at right now. We're starting this press conference. We're outlining the rules of the press conference. We're outlining the rules of the statements that lawyers can make in ongoing litigation. We're outlining the ethical obligations of a responsible ethical attorney to not make
You haven't shown the responsibilities of the ethical attorney. You've only shown one ethics rule that doesn't apply to me.
there's extrajudicial statements, right, that they know are going to be put all over YouTube, right, that could substantially influence people or cause a bunch of idiots to waste their time calling someone's probation officer or all this kind of stuff, right? So you're
And just for the record, I hate it when people snitch. I don't like snitches. Like, I mean, this guy's a fucking moron, okay? The guy's a moron. The victim is aware of his YouTube channel. The victim's husband, who's an attorney, is aware of the YouTube channel. If they feel like they are being harassed or that he's gone too far, they can get involved. And the YouTube videos are up there. And if Lane Myers thinks they're not up there, I know people who make backups of them. So you were louder on Lane's phone call? I wasn't on this headset. I am on a headset just so that my beard can scratch it and annoy people who listen.
you're aware that when you post on YouTube, there's the potential for that to be disseminated publicly and has a likelihood of influencing. Okay, so there's no backing out at that point, right?
Oh, I'm not backing out, Lane. I am not backing out. I'm all in. If I had a few more inches, I'd be in even deeper.
Okay, and so let's see. All right. So that being said, we're going to move into the press conference, and we're going to start the press conference here with first we're going to lay out what the substantially prejudicial, because we're only allowed to make statements, limited statements. First, we're going to make some limited statements necessary to mitigate the recent adverse publicity not initiated by the lawyer or the client. So we're going to show that, and then we're going to correct that. Okay, so we start back.
I don't actually watch Lane Myers videos, Michelle. I'll take your word for it. I've seen a lot of people. I've seen a lot of people with comments in my YouTubes arguing with Lane Myers, who talks about himself in the third person, stating that they've reported him on various things. So uh, I'm assuming that everybody knows. And I know Lane has said that he's talked to his probation officer about it, blah, 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 nothing's happening. But the fact that he talked to his probation officer means that probably something's happening. Usually, in my experience, they give the defendant a lot of rope to hang themselves. They don't just roll in on like the first violation, unless it's something egregious, or the second violation, or the third violation. I mean, I've seen times where they've rolled in on like the 38th violation. So, uh, But the fact that he's talked to his probation officer about it means that his probation officer is aware that something's wrong and is communicating with him about it. And the fact that they haven't done anything yet, well, someone's got to prepare a motion first. You know what I'm saying? Like these things don't just happen instantly. It's got to go to someone who's probably overworked and underpaid with a whole bunch of more important things on their desk to get through before they get to his stupid little motion for making videos or whatever he's doing, wherever he's making the comments. And, it'll take a while.
Start with, okay, a few days ago, right here, okay. So it starts with this press conference. We'll start with the so-called journalist of this.
All right, we're starting with the journalist. Okay. And then somewhere in here we get to me. It's Patrick. What's Patrick Darcy have to do with this? Anybody else wondering what Patrick Darcy has to do with it? Hey, there's me. Look at me, I'm
To a
famous.
higher standard. It's literally a fucking degree, a college degree above master's degree. Like it's called professional degree. Like the expectation is in your work, in your life.
It's not a college degree above a master's degree. Juris Doctorate is you get your bachelor's and then you get your Juris Doctorate. You don't have to get a master's. There's a LLM, which is like a master's of law that you can get after your Juris Doctorate, but Juris Doctorate isn't above a master's.
You're professional at all times. You're not crashing out on a phone call.
Professional at all times. I'm professional when I'm acting as a professional. I'm a professional when I'm representing my clients. I mean, I'm not a professional when I'm taking a dump in the morning. You know what I'm saying? Like, act professional all times. Again, where is this written? Where show me the uh, the statute or whatever that says I have to be in air quotes professional at all times, because my understanding and reading of the rules of professional conduct is they deal with my interactions in a professional capacity, my interactions with the court in a professional capacity, my interactions with opposing counsel or opposing party in a professional capacity, my interactions with my clients in a professional capacity. They don't deal with like how I discipline my kids or uh, how I talk to the sales manager at the store. You know, it's professional.
Call live on the internet. Okay, so you can certainly either offer your opinion and say, I'm a lawyer, you can look me up, hey, and then make sure that the scope of your commentary remains something that another attorney wouldn't be offended by. Okay,
Why? What the fuck, dude? Like, being offended is not a thing. Like, generally speaking, attorneys don't get offended. Like, the reason why you hire an attorney is because attorneys can keep the emotion out of the litigation. But like, if you offend another attorney without violating a rule of professional conduct, then so what? Attorneys get annoyed with each other all the time, all the fucking time. Michelle asks if I have to be professional on a vacation. Apparently, according to Lane Myers, because it's like rules for thee and not for me. Like, Lane Myers is such a fucking hypocrite. Like, all the rules are super intrusive on everybody else, but no, lucky Lane Myers they don't apply to. Except it's bass backwards because Lane Myers blows past all the rules and gets in trouble for it and catches charges and gets lucky to plead down to a couple of them. I mean, like, reality is not meeting Myers' expectations. Like, I am free without a criminal record, no disciplinary record as an attorney, and somehow you're passing judgment on me with your at least 2 felonies? Like, bro, like, bro, you caught more charges just over the civil harassment than I've ever caught. I haven't caught charges. I mean, like, he had like what 13 or some crazy ass number of charges. Like, and the dude has the balls to lecture me about ethics.
You don't get to call somebody a retard just because they're not an attorney.
You're a retard. And I call attorneys retards too, if they're being retarded.
Okay. And I don't know what you don't understand, but
And what are you going to do about it, Lane? You're a retard. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? You know who I am? What are you going to do about it? Oh, you can't leave the state because you're on probation. Ah, what are you going to do about it?
Mr. Myers does represent Lane Myers. Lane
Mr. Myers does represent Lane Myers. No, you don't. You're pro per.
Myers is the client. Lane Myers is the attorney. That's what pro se.
No, you're not the attorney. You are representing yourself. You're not an attorney. You're representing yourself. That's why it's just Lane Myers pro se litigant. She's like stout, stout, and stout. You're just a dude who doesn't have an attorney representing him at this point.
Is self-advocate.
Self-advocate, yeah. We call it representing yourself because you're the one who's talking to the judge. Like, I'm representing myself when I'm talking to my wife. That doesn't make, or I guess I am an attorney pretty much at all times while I'm in California. Everywhere, I guess, technically, I'm an attorney in California. But like when my wife's talking to me, she's representing herself and she's not an attorney. Like, you don't understand what words mean, dude.
Now, what I've noticed is that John Reveld likes to talk about people that are representing them pro se, but he doesn't criticize other lawyers the same way he does his people that are pro se.
Oh my God. Oh, he actually said that. He has Darcy up. He has Darcy up. He literally has Darcy up. Well, he's saying that I don't criticize other attorneys. Oh my God, you can't make this shit up. Oh my God. Was this intentional on his part? Was it intentional that he had RC up? Oh my God. Oh, this guy's in his own world.
I'd like to see him make a video calling another member of the bar a retard.
People in my Discord are like positive that I called Darcy a retard. And I probably did. And Lane Myers, I don't know if you're watching. If you are watching, he hoped Darcy would bail him out of the hole he dug. Oh, I don't know. I don't think Darcy's keen on him, but I mean, maybe. Maybe Darcy will write another amicus brief. Oh my God. Maybe he will.
One, so I can help get him suspended for misconduct, but two, to put his money.
What misconduct? And like, dude, this is really easy. Hold on a second. Let me do this. California State Bar Attorney Complaint Form. Right there. Right there. Now you'll notice a few issues. Did you employ the attorney? That's going to be a big one right there. That is usually what weeds all of them out. And then, you have to talk about what lawsuit it was involved with. And why are they asking you, like, what lawsuit is it involved with? Yeah. And this might come as a shock to Lane Myers, but I have had, allegedly, because I've never seen them, but I've had people tell me that, oh, I filed a complaint against you at the California State Bar in connection to me making YouTube videos. And if true, if they weren't lying to me, I've had a lot of people complain to the State Bar about me. And I have not seen one of them. So I am not concerned.
Money where his mouth is. Go ahead and post up a video calling another member of the California Bar Association a retard.
Patrick J. D'Arcy is a retard. We good?
Let's see it.
And again, let me qualify that. His amicus brief, he was a full fucking retard when he filed that amicus brief. Like that was about the most retarded shit I've ever seen. Um, he is probably a competent attorney, probably. Uh, I have seen nothing to suggest he's not, and but he was way out over his skis with that amicus brief. What the hell are we looking at here? Oprah? The fuck? What?
So he calls people dumb in the dumb comments, which is fine. But you're always responsible for what you say, even when you're off duty sitting in your car, which looks like
Off duty. I'm not a cop, Lane. I'm not a cop. I'm an attorney. I'm not on duty. I'm a professional. That's why it's called the rules of professional conduct. When you are acting in your role as a professional, you have to maintain the rules of professional conduct. Not Lane Myers made up rules, the actual rules of professional conduct.
it might even be a Tesla, and talking out your ass.
He confused a 2018 Ford Fiesta manual transmission with a Tesla. Okay, bro.
Remember. So now we gave John
I am sleepy, and I'm probably going to cut this off here in a bit. It's 9:45 my time,
the chance, right? It looks like he's full of shit.
and I've got kids, and I don't get a lot of sleep. So
I wanted to give him an opportunity to have some.
that is a great screenshot of me, though. Boy, I look retarded there. Does it count if I call myself as a member of the California State Bar a retard? I mean, I'll just call all the attorneys retards.
Assistance removing some of the shit that had him clogged up. He was so full of shit, right? So now let's get into this guy's statements as a reporter. So now he's reporting facts. That's why we had to call him. We had to call him and make sure that before we accused him of speaking as an attorney, he says, "Okay, this is me exercising
Where'd
on
you call
YouTube."
me?
Okay, he's offering his audience the impression that your statement.
Are you going to pull up the law that you were saying? Really harsh on everybody else's First Amendment.
To make would you like
And I'm not your lawyer, Lane.
would you like to give this call is pursuant to Rule 3.6 of the Rules of Professional Conduct. I'm
No, why are you referring? Why are you referring to
last night. A chance to speak for themselves, right? So because I'm an ethical and responsible lawyer in my fantasy
Here's
on
the
YouTube,
phone call.
and I'm also an ethical and loyal journalist, right? So I believe in giving everybody a chance to speak for themselves, right? So let's see what John Rietveld has to say about this video that he posted.
this, John?
Hey, how you doing, John? This is Lane Myers. I was wondering if you'd like to give some statements regarding the news report you published on your YouTube channel last night.
Skip Tracer asks, one should be able to do a record request to see the state bar. No, to see the complaints. I don't think so. I don't think they're public records. Once you've there's a step along the way where a complaint is filed, like a so you make your little complaint form to the state bar, but when the state bar would actually file a complaint against the attorney that starts the legal process going past the investigation. I think once that's filed, you can go on to, there's a special state bar court that's set up where you could look that up. But unless it gets to that stage, I don't believe they're matters of public record. But if you could, Skip Tracer, if you want to like request, if you could figure out a way with your skip tracing capabilities, if you could figure out a way to get the records, like to see who's filed complaints against me, I'd love to see them, because that'd be awesome. I would not mind that at all.
That's funny, dude. Sure.
Okay, so would you like me to give you the floor to just kind of, give the because like you've had time to analyze your video, you've seen comments from Mr. Myers making statements, correcting statements you made in that video, right?
Why are you referring to yourself in the third person?
Would you like to remain on subject here, sir?
No, I'd like to know why you're referring to yourself in the third person. That's a little weird.
This call is pursuant to Rule 3.6 of the Rules of Professional Conduct.
That applies to lawyers, not you. You're not a lawyer.
I'm calling to mitigate substantial undue prejudicial effects of recent publicity not initiated by the lawyer or the lawyer's client. Would you like to make statements in regard to your statements on your news report?
You're neither the lawyer nor the lawyer's client.
Would you like to make? Would you
And
like?
I'm not your lawyer, Lane.
Would you like to take the floor and correct the? This is your chance to participate in the analysis of your statements. If not, if you,
Thank you for the chance. I appreciate it.
that's what I mean. So do you want to move to that now in the conversation, or do you want to stall and delay?
I'm just pointing out that you can't even read a rule of professional conduct that only applies to lawyers. You can screw that up, dude. It's terrible. You have no idea what you're doing in the legal realm.
Is this John Emerson Rietveld, California bar number 320086?
Yeah, you got my phone number off the state bar website. Of course it's me.
So the rules of professional conduct do apply to John Emerson Rietveld, right?
Yeah, but they don't apply to you. That's the part you're missing out on. You're not a lawyer.
Okay, sir. Let me clarify then. I'm here to get news comments about your comments in your capacity. I'm not claiming Mr. Myers is making statements pursuant to Rule
Why are
3.6.
you referring to yourself in the third person?
I'm claiming that John Emerson Rietveld made statements that are covered by Rule 3.6 as a member of the bar. I believe.
Well, see, again, you're not smart enough to read these things. Number one, I'm not licensed to practice in Arizona. Number two, I'm not representing you, nor am I representing the state. I'm not representing anybody in this.
Are you representing John Emerson Rietveld in your statements?
I'm not representing anybody.
Does John Emerson Rietveld represent the State Bar of California when he makes statements related to legal
I don't
analysis?
represent the state bar. Representation has a specific meaning that you don't understand.
Okay, so now that can we keep this relative to the statements in the video? We can
Sure.
talk about this other stuff. Okay, so to start out with, right? Can I ask you what Lane Myers was convicted of?
I believe you pled guilty to 2 counts related to civil
Monday.
related
I hope
to,
everybody had a
criminal
wonderful
harassment. I don't remember exactly on top of my head.
So you don't remember off the top of your head the charges? So can we? Is it safe to say that?
Charges? Hold on. You asked me what you were convicted of.
Yeah.
Now, what you were charged with? You were charged with more counts than that.
What charges did Mr. Myers plead guilty to?
You pled guilty to 2 counts of something related to criminal harassment. I don't recall off the top of my head. I didn't initiate this conversation. I didn't know this was going to be a gotcha quiz time.
Are you responsible for the statements you publish?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go over the statements you publish. So you're saying now I'm
I
getting.
didn't publish a statement about specifically what charges you were convicted of, what you pled guilty to.
Thursday.
Okay, that's fair. No,
You couldn't even stand on your own convictions where you're going to fight it all the way, and it's a First Amendment violation. And all of a sudden you just wuss out. Oh, your supporters will get so disappointed.
John, are you ready? Are you ready to analyze your statements in the video related to what Mr. Myers was convicted of?
Why do you keep referring to yourself in the third person? Are you retarded?
Are you a member of the Bar Association?
I thought we already established that. You've got my information off the state bar website. I'm just asking you, are you
Would
retarded?
you-
You keep referring to yourself in third person.
Would you like to
You're
use?
royalty or retarded? I don't think you're royalty, so you must be retarded, right?
Would you like this? Would you like to use this opportunity to correct your statements made in your capacity as a lawyer, representing?
In my capacity, I didn't make those statements in my capacity as a lawyer.
So the
I made
statement.
those statements in my capacity as a person who has First Amendment rights.
So
But you don't seem to understand applying lawyers too. Lawyers have the First Amendment, and if you apply the same standard of First Amendment accountability to other people or to yourself as you do to other people, you get fucking wrecked, dude.
John.
All of a sudden things start making sense for you because you're really harsh on everybody else's First Amendment. Then when it comes to you, oh, I want all the leniency, everything. I get to see everything and do everything because of my First Amendment. And then like, oh, all of a sudden Jim Finch isn't a news reporter.
we're gonna get to that. Let's get to that. Hold on.
It doesn't apply to you.
Hold on. We'll get to that. Let's start. We want to start at the beginning of your video.
I want to get to. I want to know why you're so retarded that you refer to yourself in the third person.
Would you like to clarify your statements in the video?
Answer my question. I've answered several years. Why don't you answer my question?
I don't answer questions. I'm the news reporter gathering information.
You're a news reporter gathering. Well, I'm a news reporter gathering information too. How about that?
Did you call Mr. Myers prior?
You apply the same standard that you do for Jim Finch now that you're a news reporter? Does that apply? So any comment that anybody makes under your whatever this is going to be is going to be negatively reflected on you. Is that what we're going to do?
Is it
You're
your
a news reporter too, just like Big Jim Finch?
is it your statement that you
I don't answer questions.
did you make these statements in your video in your capacity as a news reporter?
I'm a news reporter.
Okay. So we agree. So the statements in your video. Okay, that's good then. So
News reporters don't answer questions, right, Lane?
well, they need to verify some things in there to not get sued for defamation. News reporters have to.
Show me that law. Why don't you pull that law up? Let me pull your stream up.
What-
Pull your stream up.
what
Why
law?
don't you pull up that law? Pull up the law.
That says what?
It says what you're trying to assert is some sort of legal principle. Pull it up. Show your audience.
I'm calling
Show
to
your
give
audience.
John Emerson Rietveld an opportunity to clarify his statements
You slap your little lips, Lane,
in his news
and stuff
report.
comes out, but no law comes out.
As
No
a-
law comes out, Lane. So show me the law that says that some weird magical standard is going to apply to me as a news reporter. Pull it up. I got your YouTube video.
As an ethical news reporter,
No. Pull it up.
this is your opportunity to make statements on the record
Pull it up.
regarding your video you
Where's
posted.
the reporter, Lane? What record? Where's the reporter? Show me the reporter.
You have a video you published on your channel last night. Would you like to discuss?
You don't understand. That's why you don't get what you want when you go through all these legal processes. That's why your motions get denied.
Would you like to clarify the
You understand
statements you
words, Lane?
made in your
Do you
news report?
understand that? Do you understand words?
Would you like this
Do you
opportunity?
understand that, Lane?
This is not Lane. This is Mr. Myers.
Oh, this is Mr. Myers.
Yes.
Do you understand that, Mr. Myers?
Yes, Mr. Myers is asking
Why are you
would,
talking to yourself in the
would
third person,
John
retard?
Emerson Rietveld,
Why are you talking about yourself in the third
First
person,
Amendment
retard?
journalist,
Why are you talking about yourself in the third person, retard?
would you like to clarify your
Are
statements?
you going to pull up the law that you were saying?
We're going to pull up a lot of things about you, but first we want to give you a chance to
Oh,
clarify
this
anything.
is totally the first time anybody's learned my name, Lane.
Oh, your name is the least of your
You're
worries.
scared.
The name.
Sue me.
This
You
is
sue me?
this is a little John Rietveld and a little Long Island audit.
Ooh, I'm shaking.
This is just as me as my capacity as an ethical journalist. Before I begin the news story about you,
Can I see your certificate of ethical journalism?
I would like to give you an
Can I see your
opportunity.
certificate for ethical journalism?
You've already clarified that the statements in the video were not made in your capacity as an attorney. Is that correct?
What do you mean in my capacity as an attorney? I wasn't representing anybody when I made those statements.
Were your statements just speculation, or were they an accumulation of your legal knowledge?
They were my opinion, Lane.
So, was your opinion is formed on what? Opinions
It's formed-
opinions get
things
formed.
I've read and seen and my thoughts.
So you've read and seen things.
Which part of the word opinion don't you understand, Lane?
I understand a lot. I'm saying so. Okay, so
You know, it doesn't seem that way because you always lose your motions.
you're declaring this an opinion piece, not a fact piece. Is that what journalist John Emerson Rietveld is declaring right now? This was an opinion piece, not a fact piece.
Yeah, I said you're pleading with shit.
Okay, so because nowhere in this video does it say the statements I'm about to make regarding Lane Myers are not true.
I think it should be clear that I was saying that in my opinion,
Uh.
your pleading was shit.
So was it your opinion what charges I was convicted of, or was it just the facts? Because you couldn't even get the video starts with you saying that Mr. Myers was convicted of charges he wasn't even convicted of. But your video ends.
Oh, you should sue me over
The
that.
video ends with you referring to Jim Finch's video, in which Jim Finch at my minute and let's see right here. It's
Just for the record, and this is no offense to Big Jim Finch, I didn't watch the Lane Myers fight back. Again, no offense to Big Jim Finch. He posts the pleadings in my Discord. I read the pleadings. I don't go to him for the new. I mean, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all to Big Jim Finch, who I value, but he drops the pleadings in my Discord, and I read the pleadings. I don't need or necessarily want somebody else's take on it to alter my thought process when I'm going through it, so that you get my thought process, not something that's been tainted by someone else.
It says, so there's 20 seconds into Jim Finch's video, which you refer to in your news video. It states,
I doubt I ever referred to his video, because I wasn't aware of this video and I didn't watch it. But I did read the pleading because it's in my Discord in the curated comment section posted by Big Jim Finch.
factually correct information of what Mr. Myers was convicted of, right?
The probation sentence he received last year after taking a plea deal in King County, Arizona.
King County, Arizona.
Myers pled
Myers
guilty
pled
to one count of felony stalking and one count of felony harassment.
Okay?
Myers is sexually
That's what it says in Jim Finch's video, right? But in Herb's video, right here, what does it say in your video?
And that's when I said I don't have time to deal with retards. I'd already wasted like 10 minutes on the phone with him or something like that. Anyway, it is getting close to nighty-night time, and the people inside the house are probably tired of hearing me yammer on and shout into my microphone. So I thank you all for watching. I appreciate you coming out. And I donated $10 to Lane Myers' GoFundMe, because I can't really say I'm hoping that he sues me, but it would be interesting if he did. I'm busy right now, so I wouldn't want to waste the time on dealing with his shenanigans. But at the same time, it would kind of be fun. Anyway, that's all I got for you tonight. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for commenting and keeping me